Welcome back, adventurers, once again to Let's Play ChäoS Head. And in the last episode, Hazuki had noticed something peculiar and had decided to investigate a little bit further. He discovered that there is a certain building that, while it is there in real life, it wasn't there during the initial new-gen filming that was posted recently. That building is Tokyo Tower and the I'm actually going to mispronounce it. The Roppongi, I think. I forgot about it. In any case, there is a building or two buildings that should be there that weren't there in the video. Unfortunately, much to well, Barnes' irritation, not that it was entirely unexpected, his superiors pretty much ignored that line of inquiry and pretty much reprimanded him on the spot. And speaking, of course, of things that should be there and aren't, Takumi returned home from the hospital only to find that the severed arm with the cell phone and bangle has completely vanished. And there are the 6 reasons that Takumi has typed to explain why that is. My base had been unlocked ever since yesterday, so anyone could have entered without much difficulty. In fact, that was precisely why Shogun had been able to leave the hand in my room. Or was it number 2? Of course, Takumi's mind is completely all over the place given what had transpired the other night. I didn't have clear memories of when I left here to go to O-Front. My feeling of I have to save Nanami and the fear of Shogun that came when I saw the hand. In any case, a range of emotions spiraled in me, filling me to the brim. I hadn't been cool-headed at all. Yet the hand did exist. Maybe I hadn't consciously taken the hand with me when I left and had unconsciously thrown it away in a trash can somewhere. Possible, but doubtful. Alternatively, everything about the hand had been a delusion, and in truth it had never existed to begin with. If that were the case, then the events of last night would also have been a delusion as well. And if that's not the case, then we can say for sure that the hand existed. But when I opened my email from yesterday's mail from Shogun was still there. All the stuff about his present to me and whatnot was written there plain as day. In other words, not a delusion. Besides, Shogun himself had referred to the hand yesterday. I had a real hard time thinking of it as being a delusion of mine, since somebody else is already aware of it. What about the possibility that the police or the media are taking it? They look at otaku creeps like me with contempt, so the chances of that might be unexpectedly strong. Close but no cigar would be my reply. I was scared to go online after yesterday's events. Even so, I couldn't keep from wanting to see it for myself, and so I opened my browser. I began by looking up the main news page at Taboo, plus the news sites I usually frequented. As expected, there were a bunch of articles lined up about yesterday's bedlam at the pedestrian scramble. Yeah, that was no delusion, and therefore, neither was the hand. Oh dear. Don't think we're going to be living this one down anytime soon. That's interesting. Apparently, this so-called psychic investigator Yuri Brightman said that he was Boy N's guardian. Boy N, of course, talking about Takumi Nishijo. But it's interesting that his real name hasn't actually been given in this, although his photograph is almost certain to be there, obviously. Yeah. Hmm. But why would Yuri Brightman say that he was Boy N's guardian unless there is something else going on behind the scenes? I hadn't emailed the media. I'd never seen Yuri Brightman's TV show, and naturally I knew not a thing about him. What could it all mean? Everything had been arranged by Shogun after all. Or the false Shogun, certainly. What for? He'd talk about a quest or something. But what was to be gained by pushing me to get a D-sword, to the point of making the media feature me in a live broadcast? Interesting. As if whoever else is after us wants Takumi to awaken to his gigalomaniac powers. But again, possibly for nefarious purposes. Otherwise, what would be the point? I didn't understand what Shogun wanted to do. He'd even let Nanami go with her life. We only have Hazuki's word that that's true, though. I followed the links to read all kinds of articles, but not a one of them touched on Shogun. In other words, they think that Takumi is responsible for the Darth Spider costume. There'd been almost no time gap between when I barreled at Shogun and the mass media came rushing in. Even if Shogun had used that time to flee, he would without doubt have been spotted by the media, unless he was never there to begin with and communicating remotely. It was still more inconceivable for someone in a wheelchair, that is, Shogun, who shouldn't have been able to use his legs freely, to escape the scene in such a short period of time. Furthermore, I took a look around at Channel. As I predicted, things were going wild in there. They repeated my real name over and over. Welcome to the hell that is the rest of your life. Hmm. They were all saying whatever the hell they wanted, taunting me without any idea of how I felt. That's people on social media and the internet for you. In reality, none of them give a shit. Our channel was scary when it turned against you. Shogun was to blame for all this as well. Again, doubts about that, red flags going off. That aside, I thought underground news that they couldn't show on television would get posted on that channel, but I didn't spot anything of the sort. Nothing was going on around how there had been one more person on the roof on O Front besides me. That's because sadly you were the only one on the roof at that time. You were played. Almost as though, yes, almost as though the person called Shogun hadn't been there from the start. Duh is the word that I would use in this situation. Maybe the Shogun who had appeared had been no more than a phantom of the real Shogun. Even if his existence were certain, it was also possible that the Shogun who had been at O Front was a delusion I'd created. No, somebody else knows about Shogun, the other Shogun, and used his identity to get you onto the rooftop. and we keep playing right into the other person's hands.
僕はやっぱり病気なのかも。
Only things that should have been impossible, realistically speaking, kept happening to me. It was like a game. A world where Nanami had died and a world where she was alive. Like the two of them stood side by side, and I had the option to pick either one. Similar to the decision points in an eroge, the future branched infinitely. The difference between me and ordinary people was that I had delusions of the choice that leads to an unhappy outcome and could simulate the events to come. Kind of like what we've been doing throughout this Let's Play at various points in time. Such as events when Nanami died, or when Ayase jumped to death, or when I fell from the roof of O-Front and died. That last one, however, did not happen. We didn't have that outcome. In short, the unhappiness that visited me over and over as though someone had planned it out might have in fact been a mental trap I'd laid for myself. In the midst of a boring and unchanging everyday life, I wished to emigrate to a world as stimulating as a game, and I unconsciously showed it to myself in the form of delusions. Impossible. I didn't possess any such desire. At least I'd say an instant no thanks to any simulation that would scare or sadden me.
っていうか、どれだけ想像力豊かなんだよ。
The answer to that is very over-imaginative given the state of your delusions. Even all the things I was thinking now were ultimately no more than idiotic, childish delusions. I sighed and leaned against my chair's backrest, looking distractedly up at the ceiling. Reality was indeterminate. Everything began to appear like a lie. The world called I was so hollow. And we're shifting away to another transition. Where will we end up now? Out in the streets, it seems. Watching a giant television monitor outside.
「今日午後8時ごろ、渋谷区の渋谷川で女性の変死体が発見されました。
Oh dear, we're case number 6 of New Gen.
被害者は江戸川区に住む十勝あやみさん27歳で、死因は喉を詰まらせたことによる窒息死とみられています。
Well, it could either be the 6th case actually, or it might just be another random
警
killing.
察の調べによりますと、被害者の右手の肉が削り取られて骨が露出しており、また胃の中からは人間の肉とみられる内容物が見つかりました。
Wait a minute. Her right hand had been torn off? No, wait. The muscles of her right hand had been torn off, meaning her hand wasn't severed. And her own skin was found.
被害
Oh
者は
dear.
自らの右手を噛みちぎって食べたとみられ、また足首が紐で縛られていたとのことです。警察では自殺・他殺の両面から捜査を進めています。
Yeah, I take that back. This is no random homicide. This is indeed case number 6 of New Gen. Darn it. and at channel being brainless as usual. Ever since the city had suffered through a magnitude 5 earthquake, the air in Shibuya turned savage. Shibuya's public order was visibly worsening, and it didn't end merely with brawls between young people. The situation included an explosive surge in theft. The mass media frequently used the words "new generation" to fan the flames of people's sense of danger and enclosure, which in response led to phenomena like certain stores suddenly closing off business. Additionally, the demonstrators who had been marching under the banner of anti-New Gen once per week suddenly caused a riot and rushed to the Shibuya Police Department. Over 100 arrests resulted from their clash with the police force. Those were the protesters that Takumi and Rimi saw earlier. As it happened during the commotion about the Esper boy, several thousand rubberneckers gathered to enjoy the festival. Were we not with Takumi still? The difference in mood between those who were simply visiting Shibuya and those who had lived there grew striking. The former anticipated even greater idiocy and chaos. The latter lamented Shibuya's shift towards lawlessness and advocated giving the police greater freedom to act. The sixth New Gen incident occurred as to mock this chain of disturbances. Naturally, the culprit remained at large. Unfortunate. And we're back at Takumi, with Takumi. A week had passed since the day of the earthquake. I'd been suspended from school all the while. Unlucky and unfortunate. Even if they hadn't suspended me, I wouldn't have been emotionally equipped to go to school. Another New Gen incident had occurred the day after the earthquake. Like the time when Dr. Takashina was killed, its content made it clear that it was kind of a message aimed at me, a woman who had devoured her own right hand. That secretly signified Nanami's right hand, no doubt about it. The thing about Nanami had just been Shogun fishing me, but I went cold when I entertained the thought that maybe she'd really been the one to die. And I became famous in Shibuya in the worst sense of the word, which made me even more afraid than ever before to venture outdoors. If there were a hole, I wanted to crawl inside. There were days when I went without eating, because even going shopping at convenience stores was agonizing, since everyone now knows who Takumi is. Thus his privacy has been blown to smithereens. I couldn't hold my head up and walk around outside. I constantly had the feeling that someone was laughing at me. Other people's gazes scared me. I didn't want to meet anyone. People who seemed like they were from the media frequently dropped by, but I ignored all of them. And what about Daisuke and Rimi? I hadn't contacted my parents or spoken to Nanami. I held back on playing as Ensu as well. There wouldn't be anything worse than if it leaked out that I was Nightheart. No, indeed. Certainly not. 1 week. Was this brief period of time too long or too short for things to cool down? They say rumors last 75 days, but that's a proverb from the past. Lately, fads have been amazingly fast to change. The catchwords of the moment will have been abandoned in a year. Some of the coined words that everyone uses in their net speak die out in a matter of months, such as whose eyes are those eyes, perhaps? On a daily basis, TV shows seek out heroes, idols, and villains, milk them dry, and throw them away. Preaching the choir on that one, Takumi. It was true even of the New Gen cases. Now that 6 had occurred, people on that channel have pretty much stopped discussing the first one. Everything's disappeared from people's memories in the blink of an eye. Ominous and curious. That's why I thought about how nice it would be if, like those sort of hot topics, the stir about me died down within a week. It's probably not going to be that likely. Wishful thinking, but I couldn't help wishing it. Off to the park yet again. My stomach ached. I sat down on my usual bench and calmed my heart. And with this nice peaceful scenery, that is going to bring an end to this episode of Let's Play ChäoS Head. And when we return, adventurers, we can only hope that Takumi's day goes better than it already has been. Although somehow I have severe doubts about that. As always, until next we meet.